March 23, 1994. Aeroflot 593 takes off from Moscow at 8:30 p.m. with 75 people on board, bound for Hong Kong. 5 hours later, it disappeared from radar over Siberia with no distress call and no warning at all. When investigators recovered the flight recorders, what they found inside changed aviation safety regulations all around the world. The aircraft had not malfunctioned. The weather was clear, and every system was working perfectly fine. The chain of events that killed 75 people that night started with something that had nothing to do with flying: children inside the cockpit. The aircraft was Airbus A310, which was barely a year old and equipped with one of the most advanced autopilot systems in commercial aviation at that time. March 23, 1994, 8:30 p.m. The flight took off from Moscow Sheremetyevo International Airport with 63 passengers on board, including 3 experienced pilots. Captain Danilov, over 9,000 flight hours experience. First Officer Iskaryov, trained, sharp, and reliable, and Relief Captain Kudrinsky. The flight took off normally, showing no fault at all. 4 hours into the flight, the captain handed control to the relief captain and went to the rest. At that time, the autopilot was engaged and the route was clear. The aircraft was managing itself. The relief captain made a decision which later cost 75 lives. He brought 2 of his children into the cockpit: his 12-year-old daughter Yana and his 15-year-old son, Alder. His daughter sat in the left seat, the pilot's seat. The autopilot was flying everything and she had no idea she wasn't in control. After a few minutes, she left. His brother sat down next. He started asking questions about turns, banking, etc. Then he placed his both hands on the control yoke and pushed it to the right. Not a light touch. Investigators confirmed he held a sustained lateral pressure of 8 to 13 kilograms for almost 30 seconds. That was enough pressure for our autopilot system to disengage. The Airbus A310 had a torque limiter in its roll control channel. If the system detected a strong sustained manual pressure on the yoke, it would partially disengage the autopilot to allow manual control, and the system did exactly what it was built to do. No alarm, no siren, just a small status light and a minor shift in the display. Soviet era pilots were trained on systems that announced failure loudly and unmistakably. The A310 did not work that way, and nobody in the cockpit ever noticed. The aircraft began to turn slowly, almost imperceptibly at the first, a gentle drift to the right that in any other context might not have been registered as anything abnormal. Then the relief captain looked at the instrument and said, "Is it turning by itself?" 5 words on a voice recorder. The moment the crew realized something was wrong, for 9 seconds all 3 pilots stared at the display trying to process what they were seeing. 9 seconds with a bank angle that was actively continuously climbing. 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 40 degrees, 45 degrees. At 45 degrees of this roll was no longer a turn, it was a spiral. In the cabin, passengers who had been asleep started waking up. The wing lost lift, the nose dropped, and the Airbus entered the steep uncontrolled spiral drive, descending at nearly 1,000 feet per second. In the cabin, force multiplied instantly. Passengers were driven into their seat. Anything unsecure became airborne. Screaming broke through the cabin, and outside the windows, the ground was rotating into the view in the darkness. In the cockpit, the gravitational force reached approximately 4 times the normal gravity. Every movement suddenly became 4 times harder to perform. Arms that were reaching for the control felt 4 times heavier than the normal, and even the force needed to pull the yoke increased dramatically. The nose kept dropping and the spiral kept tightening. The altitude kept unbinding. In the fraction of the second, The first officer seized the control yoke and hauled back with the maximum force. The nose began to rise and the bank began to crack. The aircraft started to pull out. The recovery inputs were too aggressive. The Airbus pitched upward sharply, nearly vertically, and thus airspeed collapsed. The engines were at full power, but that wasn't enough. The wings stalled. The aircraft began to fall faster with almost no altitude remaining and no second recovery window left. The aircraft struck the mountainside at between 400 and 500 kilometers per hour. At that speed and angle, it disintegrated on the contact. But there's something to notice, that the destruction was so immediate that the fuel never had the conditions needed to ignite. Just wreckage distributed across a wide area of the remote frozen terrain that the search team took days to reach. All 75 people were killed. No survivors. The last sound on the cockpit voice recorder are the sounds of a crew fighting controls that had already run out of the sky. For a critical second, the plane was still recoverable. If the captain had recognized the stall just a moment earlier, all 75 people would be alive today. But in aviation, a split second is the difference between a miracle and a tragedy. If you want to uncover more untold stories where seconds change everything, hit that subscribe button now. You won't want to miss what we investigate next. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next investigation.